Raylovers. No Raylos, no Ray Nobodies. Um, I'm really glad I didn't go to any meetups in Vegas. Didn't look like it was as much. I mean, some people had fun, but eh, there comes a point where you've got to limit who you hang out with, especially in the YouTube world. So I'm kind of glad that I've got the people I'd hang with, and I've got the people that just kind of come and go out of your life. Anyway, what is going on? So let's talk. First off, Brendan Wayne, who is the guy in the suit. Hey Planet. Yeah, it was. I'm gonna talk a little bit about that too. Planet. Brendan Wayne announced there was a big announcement coming. Hey Vader fan, soon tomorrow. So I'm gonna say likely tomorrow. Test. Hi Maze. Likely that they're probably gonna start filming Mando season 3 coming soon, like maybe starting Monday, because it keeps saying that it's going to be out February, whenever. They might have actually been doing a lot of stuff. It's okay. That's okay, Maze. They might have been doing some things for Mando season 3. So it's supposed to be out, I think, when the Book of Boba Fett's done. So, I mean, who knows? Anyway, I kind of am looking forward to see what this is about. Now, there's an outside chance that they're going to announce something else, which would be really cool too. But I don't think it's that. But, so I'm not going to get anybody's hopes up. And no, it's not Kennedy. Okay, she's done. It's over. All we need is the official word so we can, yub nub all over the place. Anyway, what else? So all right, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Midnight's Edge video that Andre did about the Scarlett Johansson thing. I don't know, Maze, if you saw it. I would, in fact, if you want, you can put a link to it in the chat so people can see. It was a very good analysis of what's going on. And I think this is my opinion. After watching it and seeing what Andre said and seeing what is happening at Disney and seeing what Cameron said, I think Bob Chapek is allowing Shang-Chi to be released only at theaters just so they can have yet another flop to add to Kevin Feige's, record. They can say they're, Loki's got this and Loki's got that, but really, Feige's last few outings, starting with Captain Marvel, which really is a true Feige movie, have been nothing short of disasters, in my opinion. And Iger or Chapek might be doing to Feige what he did to Kennedy. Okay. Letting him hang himself, which is exactly what Iger did. So we have to see, but I really think that Bob Iger or Bob Kennedy, God, I can't even talk today. Bob Chapek is a cutthroat businessman. I think that's where they're headed, Maze, and I think that's what Chapek is counting on, because I think he really wants to get rid of these very independent, very full of themselves studio heads that had way too much freedom. And I think that's what they want to do. I really think Feige was given, well, Feige and Kennedy, until like maybe 2 years ago with Kennedy, were given way too much power to do whatever they wanted. And that in turn ended up really hurting the product because look at, you guys have seen what's going on with you, Mace? Weird. Look at what we've seen with the merchandise of Star Wars. All right. The Shang-Chi stuff is already on clearance. All right. A guy like Chapek would notice that because of where he came from, which is the merchandise. So it's very interesting to me watching all this happen. What do I think? I think that Shang-Chi's going to crash and burn. It already is. It's already a flop. I'm very sure that Chapek knows it. It looks like Free Guy is actually doing okay. But I think Chapek is waiting to get enough ammo to basically have the shareholders who are on his side saying, get rid of Feige. Good afternoon, John. I think that's what he's doing. And I think it's going to work. What's going on in the press is the Hollywood establishment yelling and screaming about Chapek. And they can't do anything about it. Wait till Zaslav gets to be running Warner. And then they'll really lose their collective minds. Because that's coming. And it's coming fast. Hollywood is going to change from a politically motivated bunch of entitled faux creators to people who have to actually put shit out there that will play, to quote Louis B. Mayer, in Peoria. Okay? Will it play in Peoria? No, it barely plays in New York City. Well, then we're not spending the money. See how easy that is? Because these guys, I'm going to say this. Feige is basically, he believed his own press, and he's destroying Marvel. Just like Kennedy destroyed Star Wars. Just like Alex Kurtzman's destroyed Star Trek. And if you look at Kurtzman's contract, it's really not a lot of power for him. I know a lot of people are bummed out, but I don't think he has any creative control anymore. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, so we've got that going on. I suggest you guys, if you want to see it, go to Midnight's Edge, the last video Andre did, because it's excellent. Now, let's go to Horatio Sanz. Remember the Mythrol? When you watched opening episode, the first episode of The Mandalorian, little blue guy with gills? He's played by a former SNL guy, Horatio Sanz, another guy from Chile. They always seem to come from Chile. I don't know why. And apparently, and this happened a while ago, he and Jimmy Fallon were emailing someone who was not quite of age. And at a party, they invited her, and bad things happened. And now he's being sued, and Jimmy Fallon's been named in the lawsuit. Now, what does this tell me? It tells me that mid-level B and C celebs, and Jimmy Fallon's actually an A-list guy, I would say, but I think he's to the point where it has been reported that he is an unrepentant alcoholic, that he's drunk literally all the time. And it's too bad. I hate seeing that happen to people. But there's that. And then, of course, he's named in this lawsuit. But then you also, I'm going to add this, James Gunn is being sued for having a bunch of people at a party with a bunch of much younger, illegal people at a party. I'm going to put this out there as a theory. I think that there's somebody or a group of people in Hollywood that are finally sick of seeing this kind of behavior. And they are putting their money where their mouth is, and I think they're going after the bad apples. I'm going to add this. The thing between Feige, because this war going on right now with Feige and JPEG is going to get real ugly real quick. Okay? It's going to be nasty. Here's the deal. Don't be surprised if you see someone accuse Kevin Feige of a Me Too. Okay? Don't be surprised if you see some really sick stuff coming out about him. And the reason why I say that is the guy's always rubbed me wrong. And it would be this would be another weapon in JPEG's arsenal to use against him. It appears to me that someone that JPEG has got his number. He's got him running scared. Why? Well, I mentioned it yesterday. Brie Larson. Even Andre said it today. Why, they fast tracked, or was it yesterday? They fast tracked Captain Marvel when Black Widow was in the box and ready to go. There's something fishy here. Okay. Feige, again, like I said, believes in his own press. People like that, with a lot of hubris, tend to fall real fast. Okay. So what I think is happening is we're going to hear something really sick about him. And it's going to come out in Variety or Deadspin or Deadline Hollywood or The Hollywood Reporter or maybe Vanity Fair or the LA Times, something like that. See, here's the thing that these people that are all upset, Brian Lord, and, have you guys seen pictures of him lately? It's like, Carrie, we need to talk. Please tell me why. Why? He's scary looking now. I mean, really, he really is. I mean, just fucking scary looking. Anyway, while these guys are upset, well, they aren't used to Hail Parrot Head. They aren't used to having to cater to the public. They don't like us. They don't want to make what we want to see. They're not fans of what they're creating, unless it's a vanity project. They're not fans of what they're doing. I mean, I think for the new people that are actually doing quite well, I think Lin-Manuel Miranda probably is a fan of what he's doing. Jon Favreau is definitely a fan of what he's doing. Dave Filoni is. But people like John Kasdan is not. A James Gunn, he seems like a fan of what he's doing, but he's not quite up to that standard. I would say he's a mediocre talent as far as a director goes. You can tell when someone likes. God, my hair looks like shit. You can tell when someone likes what they're doing because their stuff is good. People react viscerally to it if the people behind it like what they're doing. Okay. And Suicide Squad got good reviews. It got screwed at the box office. But I think that it could have been better. And as talented as James Gunn is, there have always been questions about him, and now we've got him being sued. Again, somebody out there, maybe it's just, the plaintiff's attorneys finally saying enough is enough for taking him out. I don't know though. I don't know. Um, I really think there's someone or a group of people that are trying to remove the really creepy people from the business. And I gotta tell you, every picture you ever see of James Gunn, he just looks fucking creepy. I mean, I was watching a video of him once behind the scenes doing, I think it was Guardians of the Galaxy, begging this girl for upload. And she's like, get away from me, just go away. And he was just being a little effeminate pussy about it. It was gross. I mean, alpha males don't do that. They don't harass women, period. And that was just nasty. I mean, I'm like, I think he has a vagina. Seriously, that is his lack of masculinity there. And I'm like, you know, um, and of course we all remember his tweets, his pictures at a pajama party with, these girls in footy pajamas and he's dressed up like a priest. I mean, he's obviously an anti-Catholic bigot. You know where that puts me. You know how mad that makes me, right? And I think there's someone in there in Hollywood wanting to take him out. And then you got Horatio Sanz. Now, does Horatio Sanz, who played the Mythrol in The Mandalorian, does it affect The Mandalorian? I don't think so, because I don't think we'll see him again. And really, the costume is so intense that I think somebody else could go in there with this sort of dumpy, fat body type. Maybe a different voice, but still you wouldn't lose any integrity, I think, if they wanted to use him again, and I don't think they will. And like I said, Jimmy Fallon being named, first off, he's an alcoholic. Okay. Which he definitely needs help. Secondly, this happened in front of him and a bunch of other people, and he let it happen. There were other big names there too. They let it happen. Time to go. I very, very, very I'm very, very interested in seeing where this goes, because I do think that there's something afoot. And I think a lot of people in Hollywood are running scared. Not just about what's going on at Disney, but in general. Okay. I don't think they feel as confident as they used to. And I think the reason why is because I think they see their time coming and their time is up. Because here's the deal. Lack of box office receipts, merchandise not selling, the fans in general getting sick of being yelled at and lectured to. That's a big deal. That is it's a motivating factor for companies to disengage from these people. And these people, Kathleen Kennedy. Now, I'm going to say this. Gather around. Kathleen Kennedy has far bigger cachet than Feige. Feige is still the new boy. Okay, so I think squashing him isn't going to be that difficult. When you look at the articles coming out against Chapek, and they're lamenting the fact that, well, Bob Iger never would let this happen. Bob Iger catered to these idiots. Bob Iger is not a businessman. People who are that much into Hollywood are not business people. Okay. The actors that are good business people are people like Kurt Russell, are people like Sylvester Stallone, are people like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger's Hollywood, but he also understands where the money's coming from and how to make money. Okay. You got to produce something people want. Harrison Ford, the same thing. And I have a rant about something that's going on right now, and conclude this with that. Those are few and far between anymore. You know, I don't think Brad Pitt is really that good of a businessman. Maybe I'm wrong. But a lot of these people just don't know. Like, okay, Jennifer Aniston, she doesn't know how to make money. None of those people don't know how to make money. They're the ones that are scared. Okay, Brian Lord, he's the biggest agent. He's the top agent and the top guy at CAA, the biggest talent agency in Hollywood. He doesn't know how to make money. He knows how to make money off of people, but he doesn't know how to make money. He doesn't know what people want because he lives in that echo chamber, that monoculture, as you will. Scarlett Johansson does too. Kevin Feige bought the Kool-Aid. He believes his own press. He has that monoculture. And they want to be able to do whatever they want. And they don't care about making money because it doesn't matter to them. They don't realize that it should matter. Okay? They don't have any idea. All right? And that's where they fail. And I'm going to tell you something. And Nays can jump in and add to it. Hey, JT. I've been saying this for years. And that it's going to come to a point where these companies aren't making money and a change has to be made. Okay? Oh, thank you, Lost Knowledge. And I've been saying it for years. Ask anybody who knows me. That a change is going to come. And Bob Iger, and I think this, he might be angry at JPEG, but I think it has more to do with the fact that I think JPEG is going to cut ties with China. I think Disney's going to be the first. And the reason is this. I already think that Disney's investors realize that there's nothing that they can do to get China to be a little more open and welcoming to the product. You'd also have to be a dunderhead to believe that China would never walk into the Hong Kong park or the Shanghai park, which is basically run by the CCP, and just take it. This is ours now, get out of here, to Disney. JPEG knows that. Iger chasing Chinese Quan, no idea, didn't care, didn't want to admit it, got thrown over a sofa and reamed by the Chinese. You're not going to make any money. It doesn't matter what the box office is in China. You're only getting 20-25% of the take. And they think it's beneath them to give you anything. Okay? That's the problem with depending on or looking at that box office and saying, we could actually make a lot of money there. And then changing franchises as a whole so that, and then doing it wrong. The introduction of Kelly Marie Tran and TLJ was literally a misreading of not just China, but the Asian culture. There are patriarchal societies. They are. Korea is. I've lived there. Japan is. China is. All right? China is also really racist. And actually, Japan is too, but not as much as, they want to do business with us. I like the Japanese. I like the Koreans. They hate each other. That Family Guy thing where God makes an Asian guy and then says, and they hate each other for no reason whatsoever. It's true. No, there are reasons. The history between all three of those countries is deep, and the shit is deep. Okay, but no, catering to the Chinese box office in the way that they tried to was a monumental failure. It was a total misreading of who they are and what they are. And it's shocking that I think Iger still thinks that somehow it would magically change. He actually doesn't understand what he's dealing with. He's like Neville Chamberlain doing the Munich conference with that guy and walking away with a piece of paper in his hand saying peace in our time. Meanwhile, that guy's walking over to a candle with that paper that he signed, his copy, and burning it. Okay, because the next thing happened, I think they invaded Czechoslovakia. Okay, and what was the next thing that was going to happen? They go into, and of course, then don't go into Poland, just start a war. You know, and those guys are like, oh, okay, cool. So they invade Poland, a war starts, and you know, Churchill said, appeasement is feeding the crocodile, hoping he eats you last. Okay, that's what this is. They don't even realize it. And the thing, I think, I'm going to say this now. I think Chapek and Iger are on friendly terms. I think they disagree on China. I don't think they disagree on a lot of other things. Because the stuff that's going on with the stuff that went on with Kennedy last summer, Iger was still part of it. I don't see him anywhere, any shape, any place, getting bent out of shape about seeing her put in her spot. Okay. And I kinda don't think he's upset with the fact that Feige is being put in his spot. Okay. I think he sees where it was all going. And I think he's at least clever enough to understand that the customers are always right. And if you don't consider them, you're going to lose. Okay, you're going to lose. But I do think he disagrees with the China thing because I really think he's enamored. And for some reason, he actually believes that the situation is not what it is. And it's, look, within the next 10 years, we are going to have a major, major problem with the Red Chinese. And I'm going to be brutally honest. Hey, man, Piranha, the West isn't prepared to handle it. All right, here's the deal. The Chief of Staff of the U.S. Army is more worried about allowing transgender people into the ranks than he is about making sure the guys are fit, ready, weapon systems are ready to go, and asking for money to expand our troop presence. I mean, expand the services. That's not the way you prepare for the next war. Okay, it's just not. Somewhere in Valhalla, Ike Eisenhower and General Marshall are going, and Patton's going, and Admiral Nimitz is going, and I don't even want to tell you what William Tecumseh Sherman's doing. But that's as bad as it gets. I mean, we are, and I'm talking about global politics, but it does play into this. And, Hollywood, I'm going to tell you this. I think all of Hollywood realizes they got to get away from China and not worry about it anymore. And I think Disney's going to lead the way. I think Chapek knows what's about to happen. And I think he's probably even looking into ways of disengaging from those parks. There's a rumor, a friend of mine on Facebook is saying that Disney was actually looking to build a park in Texas. Raise your hand, a one or a two. Do you want a Disney park, theme land in Texas? One yes, two no. I know what my answer is because it's like, why do they need to do that? Concentrate on what you got. So, but I don't know. I mean, I think, yeah, you're right, lost knowledge. I think that it would be a bad idea. I think right now with this COVID stuff, and it's not going away because they don't want it to, that, I mean, and I'm talking about the bureaucrats in DC. DC doesn't want it to. You know, I think that nothing but twos, awesome. I think that Disney has to worry about John 42 is a two. Okay. I think that Disney needs to really worry about what they're going to look like in 10 years. Okay. I think every company that is an entertainment brand and that banks on and is tourism and hospitality brand too needs to think about what they're going to look like in 20 years. Okay, Universal, and the rest of the movie studios. And I think when Zaslav gets to Warner, I think that's going to really touch off a lot because a lot of these people, think about it this way. The way Hollywood's looking, I don't think revolutionaries like Pablo Hidalgo will have jobs. Okay. I think they're going to start taking what they do seriously again. Oh, I don't know. I don't, this is what I think. They're not going to leave California. I do believe Gavin Newsom's on his way out. And I don't know which of the Republicans is going to be the nominee to replace him. I'm hoping it's the assemblyman man who basically led the recall effort. He's a smart guy. But I think Larry Elder might be the next governor of California. And the Democrats there really need to understand they have really screwed the people. Now, I know people who are Democrats who are pissed off about all this. You know, it's gone on long enough. If you live in, let's say, Thousand Oaks, and you want to go out to San Francisco for the weekend, you get out. You get out of it. You get out of your car, hotel, and look around. You're in a third world country. That's how bad it is. Okay, that's how bad it is. Okay, it's got to change. Now, that's a city government's problem. But if you've got a governor that, oh, thanks, Planet Musk. If you got a governor who's like, okay, this has to change. This city is literally a shithole. Okay, I think they would change it. I think here's the deal: if you run a hospitality business like a restaurant, you're in San Francisco, you're not making the money you should. You're not making the money you should. You're just not. And that's got to come. I mean, the reality that you voted for this dumpster fire, you have to suddenly go, we did this to ourselves, didn't we? Now, I don't expect hardcore leftists to be able to have that self-awareness and that rationality, but I know some do. I know there are some that are like, okay, we can't do this anymore. And, because that city's dying. It is dying. All right. And that's too bad because the last time we were there, we had a lot of fun. I mean, we really had a lot of fun. Great restaurants, great room. We stayed at the Marine Club. And it was just, we walked around everywhere. Oh, I know. I mean, that's actually a good idea. That's actually a really good idea. But I can't imagine going there now with the and it was already kind of restrictive. We had fun, but it was like visiting Berlin in 1936. No, it wasn't that long ago. The reason why they want the illegals in so bad is because they're here for the free stuff. Okay? And they're cheap labor. All right? And they vote Democrat. The reason why the Democrats want you dependent on them is so you don't have any upward mobility. Now, question: why did we get onto politics? I don't know. You look at the housing projects in Chicago. How many generations have been raised in them? Now you know. All right, now you know. Generations. He says hi. Coach says hi. He's in his kennel right now because he'd be bugging me. Generations have been raised. They don't know any better. They've never been able to get out of it because they've grown dependent on, the crumbs from the government's plate. They don't want any of us to have our opportunities to go up and to be upwardly mobile, right? And I think they're about to get a real lesson, and that's not going to work anymore. Okay. What else? But back. All right. So I think we should expect like an announcement about Mandalorian soon, as the thumbnail suggests. By the way, just to tell you guys, John Wayne's grandson, Brendan Wayne, is usually the guy you see in the armor. Okay, Mando. He actually, for all that we can say, he actually is Mando. And I think he'd probably do a good job. I don't know why they hired. I think they hired Pascal because of the name, but I think that I would much rather see Brendan Wayne, who seems like just a genuine dude. And he looks like his grandfather. No kidding, he does. In the role of Mando. Because, I mean, he's not voicing him. But when you see the physical stuff, that's him. In the first season, in the first episode, when you see him walk up to that bar, that was literally a shot right out of The Searchers. All right? That was a shot, literally. I mean, you go to The Searchers, there's a shot of John Wayne standing in the doorway, and it's the same exact shot. It's amazing to me. It's just, and the way he walks. John Wayne used to walk like that swagger. Anyway, so we got that, and we talked, and we talked a little bit about, but I do think, no, I'm just kind of, I don't either, John. I really, really don't. So we got James Gunn getting sued. We got Horatio Sanz being sued. Horatio Sanz lucky he doesn't get indicted. Yeah, that's right, Mad. That's right. And he looks just like him. I'm not kidding. I'm like, why do we need Pedro Pascal? We got him. You know, it would have been really cool, I think. Maybe we'll get something with him so we can actually see him. You know, and he is a good actor. I've seen him in stuff, and he's a good actor. But anyway, so I think what's going on right now is there's going to be a seismic shift in Hollywood, and I think you're seeing the first shaking the weirdo tree with Sanz and Gunn. Have you guys seen pictures of James Gunn lately? I think he bleached his hair white and his beard is white. He really does look like a guy you'd see driving in circles around school with a box of milk duds on his lap. I'm not kidding. He's creepy looking. And Sanz is just a short, fat. But it's funny. They fit what you think a person like that would be. They really, really do. And it's disgusting. Yeah, he is creepy. No, he wouldn't. I mean, I think I think, I don't think he ever knew his grandfather. I'm pretty sure he didn't. Because the Duke died in 1979. I do think that Brandon, or maybe he did as a very young kid. I don't know when he was born. Maybe one of you guys could check it out for me. But I think there's such a mistake in the family about the patriarch, the former patriarch, that you can't help but love the man, even if you didn't know him. If your last name was Wayne, and you could point to a picture and say, "That's my grandpa, that's my great grandfather," it gives you a mistake no one else has, and it gives you a feeling of, I don't know, pride, and it's not a bad pride. You just know where your past was. You just know where you came from, and that's an important thing. It really, really is. I mean, I can't tell you anything about my great grandparents. I could tell you about my grandparents. 72. So he might have, yeah, he might remember him. He might remember him. In fact, I wouldn't doubt he does. A little bit. I mean, he's older than I was when my grandfather died because I barely remember my grandfather. The only grandparent I knew died in 1972 when I was 4. So he probably remembers him a lot more. It'd be more like feelings, probably, if he was, all right, how old was he? 6, 7? You'd remember things, I think. I think you'd remember things. I think, you know, so yeah, I think he probably does remember him a little bit. So yeah, I mean, I would not have a problem with him instead of Pedro just playing the role. I mean, he's physically the one playing the role anyway. So anyway, but yeah, so I think they're going to announce Mando 3 starting to film. And I think they're going to, so it's not the other thing I thought it was. I wish it was. I wish there were 2 announcements because it would shut a lot of people up, a lot of people that need shutting up. But they're not until certain other things happen that are going to happen slowly, but they're happening. So anyway, but yeah, I think ultimately what I want to talk about today, and I'll let you go, was the fact that what I got from the video at Midnight's Edge is that things are changing in Hollywood, and they know it. And bringing in, I'm going to say this, I think the reason why Iger brought JPEG in is because the shareholders said we need somebody who actually knows what the hell he's doing with money. And there are people who disagree, but what they don't understand is that if a company is oriented to making the customers happy, distribution, which that's what that means, that's what we want, isn't it? I mean, am I wrong? So yeah, I mean, Chapek is probably a dick, but is the hero we needed. Okay, and I don't, and I think, I'm gonna say this, I think Kevin Feige's the bad guy in this. I think he's a bad guy in this, and sorry, Carrie, but I think Brian Lord's a bad guy in this. I don't think this needed to be public, but they did it to embarrass Chapek, and they took a bite or swipe at somebody they don't understand, they don't know, and they think they can defeat. And what they don't understand is that they can't defeat the shareholders. And what I mean by shareholders is Merrill Lynch, JP Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo, Vanguard, State Street. And there you go. And there's others. Okay. Big names that have a lot more power in reality than Kathleen Kennedy and Barbara Streisand have, okay? Because those people can say, we're not going to invest $200,000, $200 million in a movie that's not going to make any money. They can take their investment money away and put it somewhere else. And that is huge. You know, and that's what JPEG has. And we should pray that he wins this. And because I know people are complaining about the parks. You gotta understand, Disney isn't a financial cul-de-sac. They can't spend the money on things that you want them to. Okay, they're overcharging on things because they don't have the money. They've made bad decisions. The Star Wars themed Star Cruiser Hotel. You know, and it's like, I'd rather go 12 weeks at Marine Corps boot camp than go to do this. Again, go look up the schedule for everything you have to do if you go there. $6,000 for 2 nights, and what you get is misery, especially if you've got kid in an itty bitty cabin. They did everything wrong, just like they did everything wrong at Galaxy's Edge. Are they changing it? Yeah. They have to fix the Falcon. I hate that rectangular sensor dish on it. Put the round one on. Change it to what we know as Star Wars. You know, I'm going to say this. I don't think the kids would care. I don't think little kids wouldn't care about seeing Rey when they could, you know, run around chasing Chewbacca all over the place and talking to R2-D2 and 3PO and, you know, a show in an amphitheater where, you know, on a stage that's set up to be the Death Star, and then the last act in on the Death Star in Return of the Jedi, or visiting the Emperor in his throne room. I mean, that would be cool. These are things they should have done. But anyway, short-sighted, they listened to the wrong people, Kennedy, and now they're paying for it. And Iger listened to the wrong people. Okay. Anyway, I gotta go. I've been on here for almost an hour, so you guys behave, be well, and you know, I don't know what's happening, but whatever the announcement is, I think it's probably gonna be Mando is starting to film. So it's great to have you, everybody in the chat. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Please like. The likes help my algorithm, and share out because that helps the algorithm too. Oh, I would too, John 42. Anyway, gotta go. I'll talk to y'all later. Oh, and one more thing. I'll see you guys in the EBN chat tonight, for at least for a little while.